NASCAR Cup Series driver Christopher Bell joins the show today to give his take on the current state of Superspeedway racing. He also talks about his first year with a new team and the dramatic crew chief swap behind the scenes, and much, much more. Thank you to RHEEM for helping set this interview up. How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Out of the Groove. My name is Eric, and this week I am joined by the driver of the number 20 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota, Christopher Bell. Christopher, thanks for joining us this morning. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well, Eric. How are you?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. Nothing better than a Monday, especially after an exciting Talladega race. We'll talk about Talladega. We'll talk about Superspeedway racing in just a few moments. But first, I want to talk about, not a Superspeedway technically, but you got your first career win this year at the Daytona Road Course. Take me back to that race. Did you surprise yourself at all about that you'd get your first win at a road course of all types of tracks?
Yeah, man, that really it caught me off guard, and I knew going into the Daytona Road Course that I was going to be pretty competitive, because looking at my rookie season in the Cup races, I didn't have great finishes on the road courses, but they were two. I think we only had two of them, and they were two of my strongest showings. So we were really fast at the Daytona Road Course and the Charlotte Roval as well. So going into the Daytona Road Course, I knew that we'd be competitive. You know, to win your first Cup race on a road course was really special, and I didn't really see that one coming, but I knew that we'd be pretty fast.
No, that RHEEM Camry looked very, very quick out front. Now, a lot of my viewers, a lot of fans know about your history racing on dirt. They know that you got started racing at dirt tracks in Oklahoma, right? And, I want to ask, what was the first motivating factor that actually got you to get behind the wheel of a race car?
Yeah, so I grew up in Oklahoma. My dad was a high school basketball coach. My mom wasn't into motorsports at all, so had no family ties to racing. And one of my dad's basketball players, he actually raced micro sprints in Oklahoma on dirt tracks. So I went. We don't have any NASCAR tracks, obviously, in Oklahoma. So really, pavement late models are non-existent. So there's no pavement racing at all. So just went out to the dirt track with him and fell in love with it. So it was I was probably 3 or 4 years old at the time, and started racing whenever I was 6. And from that point on, man, it was race, race, race.
Wow, you've come a long way for sure. Now, jumping forward in time quite a bit, I want to talk a little bit about last season. You're in the middle of your rookie season. Levine Family Racing announces that they're going to be shutting down at the end of the year. You end up with Joe Gibbs Racing back, I guess, with the main mothership organization, if you will. But what was that feeling like when you finally got, I guess, the call or the text or the email from Joe Gibbs or whoever that you're going to be driving the 20 car this season?
Yeah, Eric, that was really scary, man, because I was in a tough spot. Joe Gibbs Racing had a all-star driver lineup with Kyle, Martin, Denny, and Eric Jones. And, I was sitting there, even whenever I was in the Xfinity series, kind of wondering how this was going to work, because all 4 of them were extremely talented and doing really well. So I didn't know exactly where I was going to fit into the puzzle. And then Levine Family Racing became an option. And next thing you know, Toyota put me into their piece. And, I don't know, last year was pretty disappointing from, I think, everyone at LFR, myself, Toyota, JGR expected better results. And unfortunately, it just didn't happen. But yeah, it was very bittersweet, so to speak, because me and Eric had a pretty good relationship. I really respect him as a race car driver, and he kind of led the way for me going up the ladder at Kyle Busch Motorsports and then going into the Xfinity cars at Gibbs. So he's a great race car driver. I have a ton of respect for him, and it was, kind of bittersweet to get my start at Gibbs on the expense of him.
Yeah, I'm sure that was a difficult decision at Joe Gibbs Racing. Yeah, you're right. You two really did follow a similar ladder. Both had tons of success in the lower series, but off to a great start this season, as we mentioned with that win at the Daytona Road Course. So it's paid off so far. Talking about this offseason, not only did you switch organizations, but the organization you moved to, Joe Gibbs Racing, shook some things up behind the scenes this offseason. You're working with Adam Stevens, who'd been with Kyle Busch the last few years. What were those conversations like? Did you have any say in that crew chief change, or was it all kind of out of your hands and you just, Adam Stevens, obviously a great crew chief to be working with. How do you feel like your relationship has gotten off to this year?
Yeah, it's been off to a good start as far as our relationship. The team itself has been phenomenal. I have a championship caliber team, and we've been we've had great runs at the Daytona road course. And if you look at Phoenix, I felt like I had a car capable of winning the race, and circumstances took us out of it, but we still were able to run in the top 10. So that was good. And we've had a couple off races too. You look at Atlanta and Homestead, which are both racetracks that I should run exceptional at. Atlanta, I've won in both of the series beneath the Cup Series. So I thought that we were going to have a great showing at Atlanta and Homestead. And unfortunately, that didn't work out. But just getting to know Adam and him learning what I need in the car compared to what Kyle needed in the car is different. So, yeah, it's been up and down a little bit, but definitely going into the 2021 season, I had no idea that Adam Stevens was going to be my crew chief and this team was going to be my team. It's completely different than what the 20 group was last year. And I'm thankful for that, because I think Eric Jones is a super, super talented race car driver. And I told the Gibbs guys that, me getting plugged into Eric Jones' seat right now, it's, I don't think that's the answer. So I'm going to need a little bit more help here than just that. And Gibbs came out with the whole jumble up of crew chiefs and teams. And I think it worked out really well for me.
Yeah, again, off to a pretty solid start for sure. Have you been able to lean on your teammates at all, especially Kyle Busch, to kind of help foster that relationship? Like, has he helped kind of talk to you about Adam Stevens and figure out what works for both of you guys?
Yeah, Eric, I'll be honest, I don't really bring up Adam to Kyle, that's for sure. I don't necessarily know if that's what he wanted, but yeah, Kyle's been great to me. I obviously have a really good relationship with him from the time I started my pavement career in late models. So Kyle was very instrumental in my early parts of my pavement career, getting me going, and was fortunate enough to win a championship for his truck organization. So Kyle's probably the teammate that I'm closest to or have the best relationship with. So besides talking about crew chiefs, he's definitely the guy I go to.
I see. You got to know where he can be helpful there. That's interesting. Well, I want to talk about Talladega yesterday. I know you were really fast. Probably didn't get the result you quite felt like that team deserved. But after the race, I know a lot of people were talking about, I don't know if you've heard them, but Joey Logano's comments. He was involved in that wreck. He flipped and he criticized the Superspeedway rules package, says that the current spoilers and the runs that create lead to dangerous wrecks. And I just want to get your feedback as a driver. I've heard a lot of other drivers last 24 hours share their thoughts on this. Like, how do you feel about plate racing, tapered spacer racing at these tracks? And do you think there's anything NASCAR could maybe do to make it safer or change it to your liking?
Yeah, that's a loaded question there, Eric. I'll start by saying that I've always extremely disliked plate racing and super speedway racing, just because of the everything's out of your control, right? You're at the mercy of the cars around you, and especially this rules package, which was generated to create really big runs, eliminate the bubble that we speak of, where you can't get the car behind you, and it's completely done that. So you look at the Daytona 500. I was involved in an incident at the beginning of the race, which took out a lot of cars, and I was not attempting to drive aggressively or anything. It's just the name of the game. The name of the package is you're able to get right to the car's bumper, and the more that you push them, the faster you're going to go. That's just the way it is. So, I was pushing the 10 car along, and unfortunately he kind of moved a little bit, or I moved a little bit, and we just hit at the wrong time, and it caused a huge wreck. And the same thing happened with Joey, and fortunately it wasn't a bigger deal and catch more cars. And Joey wasn't, I guess he didn't get hit whenever he was flipping in the air or something, or almost did, but I'm glad he's okay. And I'm glad it didn't take out more cars. But yeah, I mean, it's a shame that, I guess it's not a shame, but it's just a product of the rules package right now, where you're able to push really easy. And the more you push, the faster you go.
Yeah, it's sort of, you got to take those big runs when you get them, and you got to push to get the big runs, and that, obviously can lead to a lot of carnage. But while I have you here, I'd be remiss if I didn't at least mention the fact that everyone associates you with dirt racing, and at the Bristol Dirt Race a few weeks back, everyone was looking at you and Kyle Larson, both y'all running up front, especially early on in that race. But with the knowledge that NASCAR's going back to Bristol Dirt next season, what do you think NASCAR or the track itself can improve on from this year's race to next year's race?
So I'll start by saying I was extremely pleased with the effort that Bristol Motor Speedway and NASCAR put in to give us a great racetrack on the race day. Practice was obviously a little bit lackluster with the tires coming apart and the super dry surface, but the number one issue that we had was a day race. Every dirt race in America is run at night, and if they're not run at night, the track's always really dry, and the races that are run in the day are not 250 lap races. So, I say that because Bristol did just run the sprint car race yesterday, I think during the day, but it was a 25 lap race. It's not a 250 lap race. So I think if we get those starting track conditions at 7:30 at night or 7 at night, whenever the sun's already down, then it's a totally different outcome than 3 in the afternoon or 2 in the afternoon. So the sun just bakes the dirt tracks, and whenever the sun's out, dust is a problem. Tire wear becomes a problem when the track becomes too dry. So, there's a reason why dirt races are run at night.
I'm with you. I think a night race at Bristol Dirt would be a really cool change to see next year. If NASCAR does end up adding more dirt tracks, they added Knoxville and Iowa to the truck schedule this year. Do you have any recommendations where you would like to see NASCAR? If you had perfect control of everything, I know there's obviously all these different factors, but what dirt tracks would you like to see Cup race at in the future?
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of venues that we could go to throughout the country, but you look at Eldora. I feel like the Eldora truck race has always been pretty good. It'll be interesting to see what Knoxville does with the truck series. Charlotte dirt track is right in our backyard, and I think that it could be an option. Trying to think of where else we could go to. Port Royal, Pennsylvania would be another great racetrack. Calistoga, California would be a good one. So, there's options all over the place, but I think if they're going to do that, they really have to focus on some key ingredients of dirt track racing. And that's number one, you can't race in the daytime. And then number two, the windshields and the grills where the radiator gets air, that's a really, really big problem, because they're walking this tightrope. NASCAR's walking this tightrope of, if they don't add enough water to the racetrack, we get what we had at Bristol, which is super dusty and tire wear. And then if you add too much water, we saw that at Bristol too, where the windshields get mudded up and the radiators overheat because they get covered up with mud. So, I would love for them to take out the windshields, put in rock screens, make the drivers use tear-offs like every other dirt track in America. I think that would be huge. That doesn't help the radiator problem though. So I don't know what the answer is there, but yeah, it's with the rules package that they have right now, they're just walking a tightrope between too much water and not enough water.
Maybe the next gen car will have some good tricks up its sleeve and can work around some of those things. We'll see. Well, I appreciate you being here, Christopher. Last question. We're going to Kansas this weekend. What's it going to take to put the 20 car back in victory lane this week?
Yeah, Kansas, man. That's Kansas is probably the ideal racetrack for the current rules package. That's for sure. So we've always seen some great races at Kansas. What's it going to take to put the 20 back in victory lane? Some crazy restarts and some raw speed. That seems like Kansas is more of a speed racetrack than a handling racetrack. You can move around all over the place. So typically, if you're faster than a guy in front of you, you can find a way by him. And then the restarts are always crazy and hectic. So I think you're going to have great restarts, and you're going to have a really fast car.
Fantastic stuff. Well, we will be watching you this weekend. Thank you, Christopher, for spending some time with us here at Out of the Groove today. Appreciate your answers to all my questions. Good luck this weekend and with the rest of the season.
Yeah, thank you, Eric.
Thanks again to Christopher Bell for being on the show this week, and thank you again to RHEEM, proud supporter of Christopher Bell, who helped set this interview up. Really enjoyed hearing from him. I hope you guys all enjoyed it as well. That's going to do it for this special episode of Out of the Groove. Be sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel. We have special guests on the show almost weekly at this point, plus we talk news, rumors, predictions daily as well. As always, a huge thank you to my amazing Patreon supporters. I couldn't do this show without your tremendous support. Plenty more news to talk about this week. Thank you all for watching. I will see you in the next episode.